Cool. Eamon Khan here, 4 seconds out. Pleasure to be in the company of former world champion and gunning for BKB world heavyweight title, Lucas Browne. Lucas, good to see you. How's life treating you?
Not bad, man. I'm at this point in time in my career, in my life, I'm just doing whatever the fuck happens, and here we are. You know what I mean? So I'm 46. I know it's going to be over soon, but at the same time, I'm living it up as much as I can.
When you say soon, what is the timeline on your final stanza in whatever ring it'll be? And when you say making the most of it, BKB heavyweight title, is that making the most of it for yourself?
Traveling. So, like, I went to Germany for a boxing fight. I went to Ireland. I was supposed to be booked into Wales, but I'm here in Miami instead. I'm traveling the world. I'm seeing people, meeting people, like-minded individuals. I'm fighting. The world title part was never part of it, but here we are. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm just living the life until it ends, and it will end when I start getting belted, basically. When I stop winning, it's over.
Gustavo Trujillo, you've been able to trade words with him. You're going to get the measure of him during the weigh-in as well too. But in terms of his fight experience, how do you weigh him up as against some of your former opponents?
Dude, he's 7-0 with 7 knockouts. Hello? He's 7-0 with 7 knockouts. So, like, first-round knockouts. So, he's obviously the real deal. Bare knuckle is a very different thing to boxing as well. And I have the utmost respect for the man. At the same time, as he said, I'm going to be his hardest opponent because I can box. So I think the people he has boxed have been brawlers, and I'll box him, and I'll move, and I'm not going to be in the pocket. So I think I will be the hardest challenge for him. And what happens when he goes past round 1? Like, we don't know. I think there's so much about him that's untested that I want to test.
Bare knuckle seems to be getting a lot of momentum right now, and a lot of former fighters with pedigree such as yourself seem to be entering into the sport. Why do you think that is, given maybe a few years back or so it wouldn't have been somewhere or an avenue that former fighters might have taken?
It's something boxers can do. MMA doesn't really suit boxers because of the wrestling and everything else. I think this suits boxers because of it is boxing, just no gloves. So it's not something to fear, it's just something different, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I fit right in. Boxers do better against brawlers, so I think it all suits in that manner.
Now, aside from the gloves being different and, of course, the damage you can take, what are the main differences you say are between your boxing career and your bare knuckle career? What are some of the dangers you may face in the ring? What are some of the excitements and adrenaline you might feel in the ring in comparison to both careers?
It makes it very, very real. That's the thing. For my last and only fight, I had all that anxious anxiety, almost fear, because it's a real fight. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
wait, so you've won a world title in boxing,
yes,
but you felt anxious heading into the bare knuckle
over any boxing fight, even the world title. I did not feel any of that. It's been a very, very long time since I felt that, and I felt it for my last bare knuckle, which that's why I want to hold on to that, because I've gone past it in boxing now, so I think I will be finished with boxing until this ends, and then we'll see how we go.
Tell me if this is a silly question, but I know that when it comes to following boxing and boxers, you obviously have to have a different mindset from civilians to get into the ring in the first place. But bare knuckle and the damage that you might face coming out of it, is there a part of you that enjoys the knuckle onto bone impact, both receiving and giving?
Giving's fine, receiving no. Let's not be silly about that. Like, you'll never catch me in the pocket and trading punches like that. That's just, I see that as just stupid, you know what I'm saying? It's some people's style, don't get me wrong, but it's not mine. I think more of an amateur feel, we in and out and all the rest of it, and movement, that's where I'm at, you know what I'm saying? So if I can not get punched the entire time, I'm good, you know what I'm saying? You're going to cop one here and there, but I'm not going to stand there and allow him to punch on me, you know what I'm saying? So boxing you can, and I think bare knuckle makes it very different for that. I'm just excited about the whole thing, man.
If you could lure in a former fighter from the boxing pro career or otherwise into the bare knuckle stage, who would you like to be in the ring with?
I've been asked this a few times now. Dillian White. And only because we had a fight. He won fair and square, there's no dramas. He was absolutely on fire at the time. I wasn't physically or mentally there. And he won well and truly. I'd like to have another go, but in the bare knuckle aspect, I think it'd be interesting.
We just had the press conference for a fight that I never thought I'd be talking about in the form of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. This is a legit fight we're being led to believe, and we'll treat it as such. What happens in a legit fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul?
I can see it coming, and all it is, everything has become a circus. That's the bare truth of it. There is nothing wrong with, and I can't knock Jake Paul for making money. Go nuts. It's not the way that I would do it or other people would do it, but like you can't knock the man for making some dollars. If people want to jump on like an Anthony Joshua, by all means, he's only getting more clout for it anyway. I think if Anthony Joshua fights like an amateur fighter, in and out, he'll win any day of the week. If he stands in the pocket and tries to trade, well, that's just silly from his part. I think Jake Paul can fight. I don't think he's a boxer's arsehole, but he can fight. And if he lands, you never know what happens. So, yeah, it'll be interesting, but it's just a circus.
This is something I can't wrap my head around because I've been in America and I'm speaking to some of the American media and some American fighters, and they believe that Anthony Joshua's punch resistance isn't there. And Jake Paul has, one, the power, and two, the execution to land a knockout blow on Anthony Joshua. Am I wrong in thinking that that's far-fetched, or is it as raw as that Jake Paul could potentially knock out Anthony Joshua?
As I said, if he stands in the pocket, anyone can knock anyone out if he catches him in the right spot. I do not think in any way that Joshua does not have the punch resistance anymore. Look at me. It's just it's a circus. You looked at sort of Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson. If he had that punch power, why didn't he knock Mike Tyson out? You know what I mean? It's just a circus. It's days of our lives, but for men.
If we woke up and that was the case, that Jake Paul did knock out Anthony Joshua, does he legitimize himself? Is he someone who should be in the position for a world title fight against Fabio Wardley or Alexander Usyk?
Hell no. There's no world title in any way, shape or form. But money talks. And unfortunately, you never know. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's earned any sort of representation for the world title at all. He's just a money-making machine and a circus freak, so that's it.
Is there a part of you describe it as a circus, there's a part of you that really wants to see Anthony Joshua knock out Jake Paul and end that circus?
I want to see Anthony Joshua actually box and show him that he's not a boxer. As I said, he can fight. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you can get away with it, get away with it. But like Anthony Joshua should be the purer boxer. And I would like to see him pure boxer.
Actually, about your former opponent, Dave Allen, he's just had a fight and lost to Arslanbek Makhmudov. He's looking to continue the sport. What would you like to see for your former opponent, Dave, who's trying to climb back up the ladder?
I love Dave. Dave's awesome. I think the last fight was a mistake because that dude's a machine, man. Like, he's an absolute machine. And full credit for Dave for getting in there. Like, I wouldn't. At the same time, like, that's just who he is. When we fought, there was no way I was coming out thinking I'm going to knock him out in the first round because it was just, he's got a great chin and he's a great person. So I was peppering away 72 punches per round, you know what I mean? Then I got caught with that body shot. That was the most peachy shot you ever seen in life. And yeah, love the kid, man, love the kid. Like, that was the first time in my life I was standing with the referee. I lost and I went, well done. Like, you're the man. And he deserved all that. You know, he O2 Arena, headlined the O2 Arena. I was so proud of that kid right there. So, yeah, good luck to him, man.
I know you were there in the arena for Matt Jedi Floyd's fight with James DeGale. He still feels really hard done by not getting the decision, but there's now talk that he might take on Billy Joe Saunders in bare knuckle as well too. Do you think we see that fight, and what happens if that does materialise?
Again, it's all circus. It probably will, you know what I mean? Again, there's nothing wrong with Matt. Matt's a friend of mine. There's nothing wrong with the way he fights. He's not a boxer. He's a fighter. And again, nothing wrong with that. But like, if you put a fighter and a boxer together, they're always going to clash. So DeGale was the pure boxer, where he's the fighter. It was the messiest thing I've ever seen. And nothing wrong with that, but the styles clashed. So I think Billy Joe may be a similar sort of situation where Matt's just going to make it messy and then see how Billy Joe sort of deals with it, really.
Lastly, it seems like bare knuckle in any form would be a home or a place for an environment for a Fury, whether it be Huey or Tyson, given their upbringing, given their fight experience growing up and otherwise. Do you think you see a Fury in the future in bare knuckle in the next few years?
Before my Dillian White fight, I sparred Tyson Fury at Hatton's gym. It was a bit of a piss take, but I still got along well. His younger brother was there, Huey, but the other one.
Okay.
And he had a bare knuckle fight the night before. So by all means, I think they should, because they're doing it anyway. Why not get some clout for it? But hell yeah. I don't think Tyson, but I think the other boys, yeah.
Just on that spot, can you delve us into or open the door on that spot that you had with Tyson? What was that like, and what version of Tyson did you get in the ring?
He was sort of 3/4 of his way back, if that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Lovely fella. His dad was there. He threw a spinning back elbow. Shit like that.
Why?
Exactly. As I said, it was a piss take. So like, we were sparring, don't get me wrong. But he was holding the ropes and pulling himself and spinning back elbows. So like, it was fun, but it wasn't real, you know what I mean? His dad said, he looked straight at me, he goes, "You're very strong-minded." I went, "Oh, thank you." He goes, "He was testing you out." I went, "Okay, cool." So like, yeah, it was a lovely experience. It wasn't what I needed, but it was a lovely experience. Yeah.
Did you say to him, why did you throw a spinning back elbow?
I did, and he didn't say anything. He just laughed. So like, even some media boys came in and he like yelled at him and stuff like that. When the media's around, he's a very different person. We talk to him, he's a lovely fella. But then the media hits it, boom, and it changes. So that's his thing. By all means, do what you want, you know. But I'm just the same no matter how you get me.
Do you think he has the mentality and enough left in the tank that if he gets that third fight with Usyk, he'll beat him?
No, Usyk's the man. At the moment, Usyk's the man. The other person who's the man is Jai Bachai from Australia. I think that'll be a good fight. If Jai and Usyk meet at some point, hell yeah. But no, I think at the moment Usyk's too good for anyone.
What about if we get AJ and Fury in September next year?
I'd love to see that. That'd be good because it's something that should have happened anyway. So yeah, I'd love to see that.
Who's your money on?
That's a good one. Fury.
How and why?
Mental games. And he's 6'9" and very long, but fights in his head like he's 6 foot. So I love that about him, and I just think he'll be too much, both mentally and like playing games and shit with AJ, and that'll fuck AJ out.
Lucas, pleasure speaking to you and picking your brain. Looking forward to seeing you in bare knuckle action, and maybe even lifting up the bare knuckle world title as well too. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best, sir.